Something just dawned on me. I have been heavily depriving my audience of the roots of my channel, which, as many of you know, if you have been following me over the last now 4 years, one of the original topics I've discussed on my channel that actually helped elevate it to where it is now is this opioid plague. One of the first videos I did under the taureanreign username was palm colored people being the face of this new quote unquote epidemic. At the time, they really didn't have a name for it. But I always talked about opioids and fentanyl and heroin and how Ohio was the hub. So I said, let me go ahead and go back to my roots. And the crazy part about it is the story I'm about to talk to you about did not come from one of my subscribers. It actually came from a discussion I was having with my dad. Yes, my dad brought this story to my attention. And when he was telling me that, I was like, oh, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I have like this little Joker grin. And as a matter of fact, it actually came through on my face. And I was like, oh, okay. But I was like, thank you. In the back of my head, I'm like, thank you. You just giving me another topic to discuss on my channel. And ironically, is something that I've been talking about since the beginning, but has slowed down on talking about or don't talk about as often. But that doesn't mean I didn't forget about it either. So with that being said, we are going to talk about the opioid plague today. I'm sure some of you are probably jumping for joy wanting to hear about this because y'all loved when I do these kind of stories. So we are going back to Ohio, the hub, where the opioid plague up there is so bad that they have to possibly build a second morgue because the bodies up there are just piling on top of each other. They're just stacking up. But of course, you know, mainstream media won't really cover this. So I'll do it. If overdose deaths don't slow down in Franklin County, Ohio, a temporary morgue may be needed to store the bodies. The county has seen 23 overdose deaths from January 31st to February 7th, Dr. Anahi Ortiz, the county's coroner, said in a statement on her Facebook page. The next day, the county had 5 more. Most of the deaths were likely due to fentanyl. Morgue techs are constantly working and don't take lunch to keep up with the overdose deaths, and county coroner told CNN affiliate WSYX. If the overdose rates stay at the same pace or worsens, the county may have to bring in a temporary morgue for storage of bodies. Ortiz urged those in need of treatment to visit the City of Columbus Opiate Crisis Information website. The synthetic opioid, originally developed as an anesthetic for surgery, is the deadliest drug in the U.S., according to the Centers for Disease Control. It is up to 100 times more powerful than morphine, and just 0.25 milligrams can be deadly. While Franklin County usually has 1 or 2 overdose deaths a day, Ortiz said in a Facebook post, one 26-hour period in September 2019 saw 10 people dying of overdoses. That year, overdose deaths in the county were up to 15% from the year before, and 90% were opiate related. The rise comes in the midst of a joint Columbus-Franklin County plan begun in 2017 to combat the opioid epidemic in the state that brought together first responders, law enforcement, mental health clinicians, consumers, family members, and members of faith communities. Among the plan's 2019 goals were hospitals collaborating to provide other pain management options and providing resources to people with opiate use disorders as they are released from jail. The opioid plague is a national problem. It is estimated that more than 130 people die every day in the U.S. after overdosing on opioids, according to the National Institute of Drug Abuse. Drug makers and distributors have faced criticism for ignoring the science on opioid addiction risk and aggressively marketing prescription opioids. It's been a long time since I've done an opioid plague type story, and actually it's been a while since I've said this, and it's my most infamous phrase. I feel nothing. thing. Oh, that felt so refreshing to say. And I'm almost certain that y'all were saying it along with me as I uttered those 3 lovely words when it comes to this. Like I said, when black people were going through crack back in the day, 30, almost 40 years ago, and still feeling the effects of it to this day, we didn't get all of this. We didn't get any morgues built in our communities. It was, if we had one morgue, that was it. If that filled up, then everyone else bodies was just piled up, and then they'll just find a grave to put them in, or a box to put them in. And, the box was considered to be prison or jail. But with everybody else, they get second morgues built. They get safe injection sites. They get PSAs and sad music to play along, commercials and even before movie previews. Yes, I've gone to the movies where they have done opioid plague PSAs before the previews for the movie even ran. They get all of that. But what did we get? They get funding. What did we get? And they made sure to put our issue all over the news to, let people know that black people at the time were nothing but a bunch of druggies and drug addicts and pill pushers and all types of stuff. They keep it under wraps as much as they possibly can. But what I do find interesting is that 45, who most of them probably voted for president, will not declare this a national emergency. They're treating this as if it's an isolated incident, as if it's not affecting a wide range of palm-colored Americans, which is probably why it's so why it's so kept under wraps, because that's what they would prefer it to be, because they can't have the stain of drug addiction be put upon them. That's only meant for us. Oh, well, that's their issue. It isn't mine. I will not help them fight their plague. If they was to come up to me and ask me, can I donate something to help them get off? Nope. Sorry, don't have it. I would rather give my money to a bum that's probably lying to me about their situation than give money to them knowing what they're really going through. That's how I feel. That's how petty I am, and I don't care. Why? Because I feel nothing. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure to follow me on Twitter if you haven't done so already. Have your notifications turned on, and I will talk to you in the next one.